Are you a history buff? Do you love to learn about strange historical facts? If you do, you won't want to miss this video. In fact, if you're interested in all things weird and unusual, you should definitely stick around. Get your mind ready as we take a look at these weird historical events you've never heard of. Did you know that former President Abraham Lincoln was a wrestler? Yes, Abraham Lincoln was an awesome physical specimen at 6 feet 4 inches and was widely known for his wrestling skills and had only one recorded defeat in a dozen years. At the age of 29, Lincoln was a storekeeper at New Salem when his boss supported his desire to out-wrestle Jack Armstrong, who was a local tough and county champion. As soon as the fight started, Lincoln began thrashing Armstrong. When Armstrong began fouling, Lincoln picked up his opponent, dashed him to the ground, and knocked him out. Although Lincoln's wrestling legacy has been overshadowed by his achievements in office, it still exists today. In 1992, he was officially recognized by the National Wrestling Hall of Fame as an outstanding American in the sport. A wrestling-obsessed town called Lincoln in Nebraska was also named after the president in 1969, following his assassination in 1865. But Abraham Lincoln isn't the only US president to be associated with the sport. Other wrestlers who made it to the White House include George Washington, Franklin Pierce, Andrew Jackson, Theodore Roosevelt, and William Taft. Did you know that for the first 40 years of the Olympics, official medals were awarded for painting, sculpture, architecture, literature, and music, alongside those for athletic competitions? From 1912 to 1952, juries awarded a total of 151 medals to original works in the fine arts inspired by athletic endeavors. However, many Olympics fanatics are unaware that arts were part of the modern games almost from the start. It all began with the Baron Pierre de Coubertin, the founder of the International Olympic Committee and the Modern Games, who saw art competitions as integral to his vision of the Olympics. According to author Richard Stanton, Pierre was raised and educated classically, and he was particularly impressed with the idea of what it meant to be a true Olympian, someone who was not only athletic, but skilled in music and literature. He felt that in order to recreate the events in modern times, it would be incomplete to not include some aspect of the arts. Submissions were requested in the categories of architecture, music, painting, sculpture, and literature, with one special caveat: every work had to be somehow inspired by the concept of sport. Roughly 33 artists submitted works, and a gold medal was awarded in each category. Unfortunately, the IOC elected a new president after World War II, and he did not support the idea of including arts in the Olympics. After a lengthy and heated debate, it was eventually decided that the art competitions would be scrapped. So much for that. Did you know that ketchup used to be sold as medicine? Yes. Prior to the 1830s, ketchup was a concoction of mushrooms or fish. However, in 1834, Dr. John Cook Bennett added tomatoes to ketchup. The addition of tomatoes meant it added a plethora of vitamins and antioxidants to the sauce. Dr. Bennett claimed that his tomato ketchup could cure ailments like diarrhea, indigestion, and jaundice. He later decided to sell the recipe as medicine in the form of tomato pills. Once Dr. Bennett's pills hit the market, several copycats began selling their own tomato-based pills. Unfortunately, Some of these copycats simply sold laxatives with no trace of tomatoes. They also made wild claims that their pills could cure everything from scurvy to broken bones. Due to the false claims, the ketchup medicine empire would collapse in 1850. For a long time, nudity in both training and competing formed an integral part of the Olympics. The Naked Olympics started in the 8th century and became a regular tradition for several years. According to historical records, the Olympic Games have a rich history, and for many years, athletes competed naked. The Games were usually held in Olympia, an ancient rural sanctuary site dedicated to the worship of the Greek god Zeus. As a tribute to Zeus, the athletes displayed their muscular physique and physical power. Showing off was also a way to intimidate other competitors. The people saw competition as a way to earn respect. Since Greek heroes were often depicted nude in artwork and sculptures, this inspired athletes to train even harder and win their event. Athletes wanted to be compared to true heroes like Hercules and Achilles. According to ancient Greek legend, all Greek athletes were required to compete in loincloths before the nudity trend started. However, things changed when a runner by the name of Orsippus Megara was running and his loincloth slipped off. Despite losing his loincloth, Orsippus didn't stop to cover his naked body. He continued running until he finished. He eventually won the race and became the first athlete to do so in a completely nude state. This happened during one of the Olympic Games in Athens. After this, nude competitions became a trend, and ancient Greeks began to compete naked afterwards. Popular myth also has it that there is a slight chance that Orsippus let his loincloth fall because he knew that a nude man could run faster than a man wearing a loincloth. However, there are those that have reasoned that this myth is likely to be untrue and was just made up to give reasons for athletes competing naked. You're probably familiar with human trials and executions, but have you ever heard of animal trials? Did you know that during medieval times, animals were put to trial if they were caught breaking the law? From dolphins to cows to pigs to dogs, even insects, all were dragged to court and were punished if they were found guilty. Much like human trials of the present day, the animals were provided legal aid in the form of lawyers and defense teams. Witnesses were called and evidence was heard from both parties. Animals were burned, hanged, or executed publicly, depending on the degree of the crime committed. One of the most popular cases was the one that involved a pig in France. In 1386, a pig was accused of devouring a 3-month-old infant named Jean Lemot in the French village of Falaise. Sadly, Jean died due to the severe attacks of the pig. The pig was then arrested and kept in a pre-trial detention cell with other human prisoners. Even a lawyer was appointed to defend the pig in court. In the end, the lawyer lost the case as the owner of the pig himself testified against her and a guilty verdict was passed. She was sentenced to death by public hanging. On the day of the hanging, the guilty pig was dressed in a waistcoat, gloves, pair of underwear, and a human mask before the hanging. According to the available accounts of this incident, the hangman received a payment of 10 sous and 10 deniers and a pair of new gloves to drag the pig and perform the hanging in the public. What is even more interesting is that all other local animal breeders were told to bring their animals or cattle to attend the hanging, so that they can also see it, and this can serve as an example to them to not break the law. What are your thoughts on these strange historical events? Did you already know them? Or do you know any others? Let us know in the comments below. If you made it to the end of this video, that can only mean one thing. You are seriously into some weird-ish. So go ahead and press that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more weird content just like this.